Good morning, KMA tribe, friends, family, students, and anyone who found me here today. Today, I want to share in transparency some of what makes me cry. I recently had a revelation that I want to share with you about that. But I want to first talk about kind of like the two types of things that we um, should cry about, because there's maybe more things that some people cry about, but these are two that are good reasons to cry for both of us. And the first one, of course, are the things that break our heart, and even these things are different for different people. And in addition to obvious things like the loss of a loved one, mourning, something like that, um, I'm talking about the things that break your heart on a macro, on a global level. For example, for me, one of those things is human trafficking, and particularly child human trafficking. And if you haven't seen that movie, what is it? The Sound of I can't remember the name of the movie now, but it was a great movie on the subject. It's out and popular right now. I'm sure you can easily find it. It's not what I'm going to talk about today. The point is, that's the thing. To be honest, most things with kids that are just mistreated, or kids that have nothing to eat, or kids that have, just as poorly, not proper mental stimulation, inspiration, and encouragement in their life, like all those things break my heart. But today I really wanted to talk about a different type of what makes us cry, and specifically because for me, sometimes I'm trying to figure it out. I get a little choked up on something. Like sometimes sometimes it's something I'm observing in real life. Sometimes it's something that I might even just be observing on a TV show. And recently I recognized that very, very often those things are around great leadership. That when it's a scene about great leadership in a movie or a TV show or a book. And that's what happened this morning. This morning I was reading to my wife for coffee time, because I've been reading this amazing book called The 6 Types of Working Genius from Patrick Lencioni. And there was a chapter that was so relevant to us that I was like, oh, can I read to you? And I was reading to her, and ended up reading actually 3 or 4 short chapters to her this morning. And I found myself getting choked up while trying to read. And I realized that it's that same thing. It's because when I'm reading from a great personal professional development book, specifically one that has to do with leadership, and or for me right now, like team building, there's a couple things going on. The one that I mainly wanted to share with is something inspirational in a way that's aspirational. And sometimes there's even a couple more like little sub factors that play. So for example, this morning in confession, because I thought about it on the way into work afterwards, I was like, what made me get choked up when I was reading that? And one is because, see, this one was indirect. It wasn't just an act of great leadership from any of the characters in this fable, which I highly recommend to every entrepreneur, team leader of any sort. Quite frankly, it's probably good just to figure out your own working genius, particularly if you're not finding great joy in your work. But having said that, the point is, what I recognized was this. The choking up was because some of it was knowledge that I wished that I had learned years before. And some of it was knowledge that I was very excited to get today as I go to the next evolution of training, growing, developing my team. So in closing, I say, what makes you cry? What are the things that break your heart? Because maybe you find purpose and passion in that if you decide to do something about it. And the other clue is the things that choke you up, because it's inspirational, aspirational for you in the direction, the calling of what you're supposed to do, and or at least what you're supposed to do next. Prepare to live, empower to lead. Make it a great day. I'm Shastive of KMMA.